Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another great episode of uh, Crypto with Dadjokes and Crypto.
Yeah,
Robert,
both of those.
really, Robert is the dad joke genius. He's the master at dad jokes. So
That's not true.
it's
No.
110% true. So he has me rolling on the floor all the time. Like his obese parrot. I mean, where do you come up with these things?
That was pretty
Obese.
funny. That was a huge weight off my shoulders. So
That parrot's in a better place now. So
yeah, in a very large coffin.
your German word for constipation.
Far from
Far from
pooping.
pooping. I don't know if you know this, but hey, it's not.
It's I did not know that. Thanks for bringing that up. Oh man,
Ah,
internet's a great
I'm
place.
telling you, you're a wizard with some of these jokes. You're a wizard, Harry.
Hey, just to start off though, what do you call a wizard that's bad at football?
I don't know what.
Fumbledore.
Hey,
That
that
wasn't even
might
what I
have
had
been
planned for today. Just came.
that was great. Dumbledore. Ah,
Anyways,
well, how about them apples?
a good apple.
We uh we wanted to talk a little bit today with you about the Bitcoin halving. So
Yes.
every every 4 years, or roughly every 4 years.
Yeah.
Um, it, it's actually it goes off of the number of blocks and the number of Bitcoin that have been mined. Is that correct? Which is roughly every 4 years.
Correct. Yep.
Um,
Go
we
ahead.
call it it's called a Bitcoin halving, and that is when the Bitcoins that are mined are cut in half. And so currently, what do we have being mined currently? Isn't it 6.25
Yeah, 6.25 per block reward is what it's, I think the technical term for it is.
per block reward? And so sometime here, whether that's like the beginning of April or so, is or mid-April, beginning to mid-April is when they expect the next halving to occur.
Mhm.
The next Bitcoin halving will happen, which means that the reward will only be 3.125 Bitcoin that are mined.
Correct. Yep.
Is
And
that right?
and that was built into Bitcoin's code to begin with. So there's roughly only going to be, not roughly, but there's only going to be 21 million Bitcoin ever. And the way that you earn Bitcoin is by mining it. And mining it is basically solving algorithmic codes that settle these transactions, which are called one block. And so every reward that you get for solving this block is based in Bitcoin. The first block reward was 50 Bitcoin. I actually just read that a little earlier. And now we're down, and every 4 years, or roughly every 210,000 blocks, it gets cut in half. So after it started out at 50, and then after 210,000 blocks, it dropped down to 25, and then 12 and a half, and now we're at 6.25. And then April-ish, whenever that 210,000th block is mined, it goes down to 3.125. And that's how it's built in scarcity rather than it becoming, something you just can just put it like crazy. There's only a certain amount available, and every 4-ish years, less and less becomes available every day.
And now this halving is usually what tends to kick off the bull run. Is that correct?
Yeah. So what it does is they call it, what's the word I've heard? Supply shock. And so all of a sudden people that are like, oh, well, let's say there's 500 Bitcoin being mined per day. All of a sudden now there's only 250 being mined per day. So it's becoming more and more scarce. The people that do have it are hanging on to it. The people that don't have it want it. And that usually does this to the price. I don't know if you've ever heard of a little something called supply and demand, but the lower the supply, the higher the demand.
Uh, so just in your own opinion, I did a little bit of research myself, and I don't know what the right answer is here. But if you were somebody that were mining Bitcoin, would that hurt you to have your supply cut in half? Like, or because of the scarcity of it, I guess it's going to increase. And so
Yeah.
I was having a hard time putting this together in my own head. So walk me through it if you can.
So, and I am by no means an expert, but in my mind, I would say yes and no would be the answer to your question, just because yes, it sucks because you're still doing the same amount of work, you're still using the same computing power to earn less Bitcoin. So you're still using the same amount of energy, CPUs, GP processor, whatever that techno
To
crap
only
is.
get half that reward back, right?
Right, but you only will get half. But what you do have, what you haven't sold or whatever for your operating costs, is gaining value. So it's kind of a hit and miss. Like it's harder to get it, but also the value of what you do have is going up. So that's kind of my thought process anyway.
Okay, I like it.
Right around, but one thing I did want to do is just share my screen here real quick. I found this website here. This is nicehash.com, which is also a hilarious website name. But it has just a countdown to the Bitcoin halving. And so again, this is just an estimate. We don't know exactly what time or day it will be. Oops. But basically, this is kind of telling you roughly when it should be. They're expecting it to be about the 4th of April next year. But it could vary based on how many blocks are mined daily and things like that. But this also has some pretty good information that I kind of encourage you to go through and read a little bit. It talks about a couple things here. I don't know what the event block height and current block height is. I don't know what a block time is. Exchange rate I get. This is what 1 Bitcoin is basically worth right now. That's this section here.
It's worth 37,763 United States dollar coins.
Yeah,
United States dollars.
Yeah, per coin. And then this is the market cap of Bitcoin. And then the difficulty is something that actually can be adjusted. They call it a difficulty adjustment. So I don't remember if it's every quarter or every so often, they adjust how difficult it is to mine a Bitcoin. And they can, if they're not getting Bitcoin mined as fast as they want it to, they can lower that difficulty. If it's getting mined a little bit faster, they can increase that difficulty. And that's just kind of based on that supply and demand kind of thing too. So that's something that's kind of interesting as well. The more difficult it is, the more computing power you need, the longer it might take to solve one block. But this is pretty cool. And down here a little bit further, it talks about why in Bitcoin's case, it was only to have a maximum supply, this 21 million, because like it says here, printing extra money causes inflation. But like gold, there's only going to be a certain amount of Bitcoin ever available, just like with gold. There's only a certain amount here on Earth, unless we start mining asteroids, which people have been saying we would do. So
Yeah.
But that's kind of the idea behind. I mean, the creator of Bitcoin, Satoshi Nakamoto, whether it was one person or a group of people, was pretty genius in my opinion. Just understanding the problem with the fiat system and ways that they could fix it. So, but yeah, I'd recommend everyone kind of check out this nicehash.com. They have some pretty good information there if you want to dig into it a little bit more.
How did you run across this website here? Were you just looking up interesting facts and stuff about our current video, and you're like, hey?
Yeah, I actually just Googled Bitcoin halving to see when it would be, and I came across this as a Bitcoin halving countdown, and I just kind of like the information that they put on here. And it has this, as you can see here, it's got this like running total, down to the second, which again may not be completely accurate, but it gives you a pretty close estimate as to when they think that halving will be. So I mean, when we get down to like 10 or 15 days or whatever, that's going to be pretty exciting for the crypto market, because once that happens, there's pretty good run up. From what I understand, it will run up and then kind of taper off a little bit, but then after that, it's time to get your moon boots on. So get your space helmet and your moon boots, because it's time to fly. So
I wish I could have went back in time like 12 years ago and started mining Bitcoin at the 50 BTC for block reward.
Oh man.
I wish.
Well, and I think back then they were doing it with much like lower grade computing power. They were, just like people you doing it on their MacBooks or something like that. So yeah, it's
just to have the knowledge that we have now and to be able to have, yeah, that would be.
Yeah. But I may have said this before, but the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is right now. So
That's true.
so
That's very
just
true. So
get in when you can, start learning what you can, and let it rip. So
let it rip. Yep. Invest when you can, where you can. Not financial advice.
not financial advice. Be safe. Make sure you're only investing what you can afford to lose, and understand that this market is pretty volatile and we can't guarantee ups or downs. So
Yep. Yep. If you're looking for another great channel besides just ours, you can always check out Blockchain Backers videos. He's got some great
yes,
graphs and stuff. The guy is just on the level. I really like him. So if
Yeah.
you're
he's
sincerely
a flipping
interested in stuff like
genius.
this, then yeah,
Yeah.
he's pretty cool. So
Yeah. And
um,
he's got a great intro too, and the best voice in crypto. So
yeah. Aside from yours,
well,
that's
what can I say? So
hey.
kind of along those lines, I was going to ask you, Travis, why should you never brush your teeth with your left hand?
Why?
Because a toothbrush works better.
And instead of
Yeah.
just your finger, your whole hand then. Hey, also, question
Yeah.
for you, Mr. Smarty Pants.
Yes, that's
If
me.
if you have a room that only fits 99 math teachers and you have 100 of them standing outside, how do you get them all in? You carry the one.
Gary one machine. I'm sitting there thinking like it's a riddle. Like, okay, so let's see. One is outside, 99 are in. Good. Carry the one. He's getting way too involved in that one.
I love it. I think it's great.
All right. Well, thanks everyone. Brush your teeth with your right hand tonight, and
Or your toothbrush.
or your toothbrush.
Works better.
All right. Take care.